Hey everybody, U.S. immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori here, and in today's video, I want to talk to you about how to use escrow when applying for your E2 visa. Now, this is a subject that many people are interested in because through the use of escrow, if escrow is used properly, an E2 investor can help to protect themselves so that in the event that for whatever reason, if their E2 visa application were to get denied, they're not stuck having invested all this money into a business that they now cannot come to the United States to operate. So one way to protect yourself against that unfortunate outcome is through the proper use of escrow. But the question is, how can somebody use escrow properly? So that's what I want to talk about in today's video. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is that for purposes of this video, I'm going to share with you one of the ways that I have seen escrow arrangements commonly work. This is not a tailor-made explanation of every single possible scenario in which an escrow arrangement can be used. But for purposes of this video, I just want to share with you an example of one of the ways that I have commonly seen my E2 visa clients successfully use escrow to help them shield themselves when applying for an E2 visa. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, the context that I have seen E2 investors successfully use escrow is when they are purchasing an existing business. I have not really seen the use of escrow in the context of a startup company, but I have mainly seen escrow used successfully in the context of purchasing an existing business. So let's say that you're an E2 investor and you have identified a restaurant that's for sale and you're interested in buying that restaurant as the basis of your E2 investment. Well, one way that you can structure this purchase so that you can shield yourself using escrow is that you can enter into an agreement with the seller of that restaurant where you say, okay, we're going to structure this purchase and sale agreement so that I'm going to purchase your restaurant, but in the interim, while my E2 visa application is pending, we're going to keep the funds in escrow. So we're going to enter into this purchase and sale agreement. I'm going to send my funds to the escrow agent that we agreed to use, and the escrow agent is going to hold on to these funds until my E2 visa is approved. Upon approval of my E2 visa application, the funds will get delivered to you, the seller. And basically, the only contingency of that escrow agreement is the approval of the E2 visa. So basically, the buyer and the seller come to an agreement that the funds are to be held in escrow in this third-party escrow agent's account until the approval of the E2 visa. At which point, once the E2 visa is approved, the funds transfer over to the seller. Now, again, what is the benefit of doing this? It's that if for whatever reason the E2 visa is denied, then pursuant to the terms of the escrow agreement, the funds transfer back to the buyer, and the buyer is not stuck in a situation where they purchased a business without the ability to operate the business. So as you can see from that standpoint, the buyer is helping to shield themselves. Something to be aware of is that, as you can imagine, sellers are not too keen on structuring an arrangement this way because oftentimes the process of getting an E2 visa can take several months. So the seller is basically undertaking the risk of locking up their business in a transaction that could take several months before they know whether they're going to receive the funds and the transaction is going to complete. So you should know as a potential E2 investor that it may be challenging to find a seller of a business that's willing to engage in this kind of agreement. But if you're able to find a business seller that is willing to enter into an escrow agreement, as I've explained earlier, it can be very beneficial to you because it can help you again secure yourself from the potential negative outcome of acquiring a business and for whatever reason an E2 denial, which would put you in a situation where you wouldn't be in position to operate that business from within the US. Again, I want to disclaim that there's details to this, and it's very important to consult with an experienced E2 attorney before taking any action. This is just some general information for you. It's not legal advice, but hopefully it helps to clarify the general overview of how an escrow agreement can be used in order to help protect a prospective E2 investor. One more point that I want to mention is that something that is key with escrow agreements is that really the only condition that should be in that escrow agreement is approval of the E2 visa. If there are other conditions for the transfer of the funds to the seller, then USCIS or the consulate that's reviewing the case could take the position that the funds are not truly at risk if there's all these conditions in there. So generally, the only condition in that escrow agreement should be approval of the E2 visa. I want to disclaim once again that this is just some general information for you. It's very important to consult with a qualified attorney before taking any action. But hopefully you found this information beneficial. If you know anybody that can benefit from this information, feel free to share it with them. I want to thank you for tuning into this video, and I will see you on the next one.